CADMA here from Bitten Apple TV in conjunction with the Game from the Radio here at 5 Points Festival. Getting down with the Boogie Down Bronx Heroes. Ray, I mean, you want to tell me, tell me a little bit more about your Bronx Heroes here. What's going on?
Bronx Heroes is basically an organization that promotes literacy and education through comic book reading. And we've done that through gallery shows for the last decade and comic conventions, and that's pretty much it, and publishing comics so that kids can read.
So what part of the Bronx are you from?
All over. I grew up on 225th on Carpenter Avenue, what I call Little Jamaica, and went to school in Vander Childs High School.
What? That was my zone school. I ended up at Cardinal Spellman. Yeah, you didn't know I was from the Bronx, huh? Most of my viewers don't either, because when I get mad, for some reason, I have a Brooklyn accent. I don't know what happens. But no, I ended up at Cardinal Spellman, and I was over at Grand Concourse. I mean, I was all over the place. The only place I did not live was by the Cablevision. I was not going to Soundview. That was not happening. I was too far. In Bronx terms, for those who are not from Bronx, New York, Soundview is like out there in Carajo land. Like it is a whole other dimension. No one likes to go out there. You'd rather travel to like Florida by car than to go out to Soundview.
I actually worked at Hunts Point, and that was like the Twilight Zone.
It is. It really is. There's more to J-Lo than on the 6 train than what you guys know about it.
Good thing they didn't have cell phones back then.
Oh, God. Thank God. I am saved by so much. Nothing, Ma. So what I want to know is, like, what was your inspiration for sort of like putting this all together? Like, it's a different culture when you're living in the Bronx. The same thing when you're living in Brooklyn, when you're living in Queens. It really is. I know for outsiders, you're like, New York is New York. Every borough is different. It's a whole other different culture. It's a whole other different land of people.
The Bronx is its own planet. It's a planet. Queens is a planet.
It really is, because when you live in the Bronx, you don't necessarily leave. I mean, you got to go to the movies. You head over to Bay Plaza. That's what you did.
True. A Whitestone.
Pretty much. So what was it that was your personal inspiration for, like, I should put something like this together for kids to like really look up to? Because not all the schools out there are great, and we politicians, you guys can fix a few things.
Horrible. As a school teacher, I'm telling you, it's horrible. Education in New York City is... But going back to inspiration.
I think you just answered the question, but go on.
I would say a steady stream of rejection after graduating from the School of Visual Arts. I was trying to get into comic companies, trying to get a job. I got rejection after rejection. And then one day I was just like, fuck it, I'm going to just do it myself. And I did a lot of conventions for a while. And then I was like, why am I paying these other people to do conventions? I could take all this money that I'm spending and just do my own. And that's what I did. I did my own shows, contacted people that I knew, and we did shows for years, and birthed from that, we inspired Regine to do Women in Comics, and the rest is history. Now we're doing White Plains. We're going to do Brooklyn in a few weeks. We're expanding. We're going to probably do something in Fishkill, New York. So we're going beyond the Bronx now. But I think that young people need to be inspired by literacy, by reading. Reading is not cool. I'm having adults tell me at Comic-Cons that they don't read, and I don't understand what the fuck they're doing here. As like, it's a comic book convention. That means you gotta read,
So let me ask you, as you've been doing this and as it's been developing, what is the sort of like, I guess, communal effect that you're starting to see kind of come back to you? Like, wow, this is leaving an impact. What are the sort of impacts you're seeing that it's leaving on the community?
Well, young people are curious about comic books. They know the movies, they know the TV shows. A lot of them don't even know that comic books exist still. They don't even know that the literature exists, and that's because that says a lot about our community and how comics are distributed. They used to be on newsstands. Now you don't see that anymore as much. Now they're in these specialty stores that are dying out. And then you have this other phase of web comics coming in. So it seems like the shareholders at Marvel and DC are basically cutting off their nose to spite their face. They're cutting out the middleman. They're closing down these comic book stores. And then you have this huge movement of non-literacy with celebrities, young celebrities telling kids that they don't read and it's not cool to read. So it's an uphill battle. And, kids do like comic books. Kids do like to read when they see them. when they're invested in it, it gives them imagination. And, you know, nothing against video games. I think video games are great. But if you use it too much, it's just like drinking too much. You know, you have 1 beer, it's okay. You have 10, that's not so good. So everything's in moderation. So we're trying to encourage that reading is cool and reading is good. Not just to kids, but to adults too. And that's what it's about.
No, it really is. All I do is read. That's really important, and it does break my heart whenever I see someone who's like, "What, read?" Quick.
I don't read.
It's really weird. Quick short story. I had a guy one time hitting on me on the train, and you know the conversation was going okay. And then I was like, "So, what do you like to read?" And he was like, "Oh, I don't read anything. I refuse to read books." Like, and I was like, "Conversation dead, done." So if you want to get a girl, read a book. So I do have to ask you, what is your personal comic book that you like the most, that inspired you personally, that you're like, wow? Like for me, classics, of course, I love Wonder Woman. So to me, my mom was the Wonder Woman, besides the fact that she looks like Cheetah because she's yellow from her hair to her toes. She's going to get me for that. But what was the comic book that inspired you?
Wow. I know that was Batman, I think it was 287 Detective Comics with the Scarecrow, drawn by Alan Davis, that inspired the hell out of me. I was like in love with that book when I was like 12 or 13, and I was just blown away by it. And then I got into like Vertigo and like indie books, and like Miracle Man by Alan Moore, Sandman by Neil Gaiman, Shade the Changing Man by Peter Milligan, Doom Patrol by Grant Morrison, and I just follow and read all those guys' stuff even today. I look up for anything that they're doing, I just read that. And then American Gods is a great novel too. I started reading it again. I read it back in the 90s. They had a TV show, loved the show, and then I started reading the novel again. I was like, the book is better, you know? It's like...
The book is always better. I can always agree. It's always just awkward when you're like, oh, you missed out the best part. I really do love what you're doing, and it's very important to always give back to the community, teach the kids, you know, this is what your future is going to lie. I mean, we're not going to be here forever, so it's important to leave a beautiful legacy behind for those who are going to be here, and then as the legacy continues and continues and continues. I mean, I wish this was around when I was a kid, man.
We just didn't know each other.
Probably passed by you with my rollerblades, like, with my little Walkman. Keep up the amazing work, and like I said, for those who are like, I want to get involved, you know, maybe they have books that they want to bring over to you and kind of just pass along that positive, beautiful message for kids. And of course, keep reading. Don't stop reading. Where can they find you?
bxhcc.com, or just Google Bronx Heroes, Ray Felix.
And it's more than just on the 6. Thank you so much. Bye.
Take care.